Hodge, representing Equal Justice USA. Again, I got to sit in the gun violence prevention workshop. Jami, you talked very eloquently about a lot of those preventative solutions, those preventative factors, and how we can be intentional about it. Your organization focusing on shifting our response to violence and viewing it with a more trauma-informed lens. And talk a little bit about your organization and the work that you've done.
Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Jami, and just bear with my voice. Of course, and on a day that's full of such blessings, I feel like, I'm not going to let anything get in my way. I'm going to push through. So one, just thank you to the Players Coalition, to Rebecca, Isis, to the entire team who have been working with us over the last several weeks, and certainly to Quan and Malcolm and all the players, these amazing men who have decided to use their platform to elevate this important work. So a little bit about Justice USA. First, actually, I'm gonna start with a little bit about what brings me to EJ USA and what makes me so passionate about the work that we do. I sit before you as a person who has seen the impacts of violence in my home. My father suffered a traumatic brain injury from an armed robbery when I was in high school. That didn't just change his life, it changed all of our lives. I also sit here as someone who has seen up close the impact of the violence of our incarceration system when my brother turned to drugs because of the trauma we were living with after my father's attack, and ultimately ended up serving time because he was stealing from work when that addiction got out of control. And so I took the job of working in the system as a prosecutor, as someone who knew that this was a system, or at the time I believe was broken, thinking that, so being someone impacted who knew that the system really had nothing for us when my family was suffering active violence, and also seeing that the system only harmed my brother, who's one of my favorite people in the world, when he would have a trauma response to the trauma that we were dealing with. So I thought being a person who could hold some of that power as a prosecutor could help change it and make sure that power was used differently. But the journey I've been on is the journey that at EJ USA we are trying to take the world on. And what I learned in my 12 years as a prosecutor is that we do not address violence the right way. In our system, all we do is focus on punishment. We do not have any pathways to healing. We are not actually interrupting violence. In our system, we show up after the fact and we punish, and that's it. And so learning about an organization, and I had spent some time working in criminal justice reform, and that work is really important. And I know the Players Coalition has done a lot there, but what you find in criminal justice reform is a lot of time the answers carve out violence. So we'll change moral reform, we'll expand diversion, but we'll only do it for low-level misdemeanor offenses. When it comes to violence, the sole thing we are willing to do is punish. And so the work that we do, and so many of these incredible partners up here is doing, is how do we address violence by actually interrupting the cycles and addressing the root causes that cause violence. And I love the point, and I love what you're doing, Tia, at Trigger Project, because the other piece of that work is changing the narrative. We do understand that, and I can tell you, I never in my time as a prosecutor had a case where someone caused real harm who had not been a victim first. And usually it started in childhood, and we did not show up for them. And in their trauma, and in them not being resourced, then yeah, it's not surprising, because exposure to violence and trauma is a driver of violence. So we shouldn't be surprised that they end up harming other people. So having this work where our target is to focus on the hard issue of violence, to resource and support folks like Tia who are on the ground, sort of sits above those who are on the ground doing those direct services, and we sort of see ourselves as a backbone. We help take founders like Tia, like Mashea, who have a passion, but maybe don't know how to get their 501c3, don't know how to build a board, don't know how to write the first event. We do that through our work, through some of our technical assistance work. We also create healing spaces. These people who are doing this work every day are doing it from a place of their own pain. They've turned their pain into purpose and passion, but they need someone to pour into them. So we will host retreats. We will create a community where we really hold sacred our responsibility to heal the healers who are doing the work. And then importantly, it is so important that we change the narrative. We have to address the racial inequity, the racial injustice that's at the root of this. We have to tell the truth about the stories. We are okay with punishment as a response because of who we're okay punishing. And so we have to address the narrative that violence attaches to Black skin, dangerousness attaches to Black skin. And so we gotta be honest about our legacy of slavery that has influenced where we are in our punishment system. And so being able to tell the stories and tell the truth about that history is part of what we do. And then to lift up the solutions that are working. We need the world to know that when violence happens, there's something we can do besides sending more police and increase our punishment, that there are solutions that are working every day right now on the ground. One of the places we've done our deepest work is Newark, New Jersey. It has a robust, community-based public safety system that involves so many grassroots organizations who are serving people. They are at a 60-year low in homicides, but not enough people know that story and know that these things are working. So one of the things we're so excited about in this partnership is the willingness of the Players Coalition and the players there to use their incredible platforms to help us change these narratives and lift up the fact that there are solutions that are working. So thank you. I'm very excited to be here.